What's up, guys? I recently saw a post saying LeBron's run as a Laker in and of itself is worthy of being a first ballot Hall of Famer if it was a player's whole career. But I think most casual fans are only looking at the surface when evaluating players' performance, mainly just his stats. A huge amount of analysts do as well. Anytime I find an article of people actually going beyond the stats, watching film, talking about advanced stats such as plus minus, defense, leadership, and culture building, players like Tim Duncan taking pay cuts, those are the things that immediately draw my interest. These are the things that lead to winning, true Hall of Fame careers. Take for instance AJ Mitchell. I'm a huge college basketball fan because there's more effort, teamwork, less three-point shooting, and teams closer to where you live, such as where my local team is, UC Riverside. They have consistently been the worst team in the mid-major conference, the Big West, for the last 20 years. The Big West has rarely produced NBA talent, so when AJ Mitchell was Conference Player of the Year at Santa Barbara and listed near the bottom of draft boards, I was rooting hard for him. But of course, it's UCSB, I figured he would go undrafted. But who made 3 trades on draft night for the player who might end up in the best of the whole class? Of course, the OKC Thunder. Now if you just looked at this competition and his below average 3-point percentage, he would be overlooked. But OKC is the best in the league at looking under the hood. Someone recently said OKC's bench would have been the 7th seed this year, and they're probably right. Now what does this have to do with LeBron and his Lakers career? Well, part of it is I just wanted to quickly highlight AJ Mitchell. So many fans just look at stats and media narrative when deciding someone's legacy and impact. AJ Mitchell had the best advanced stats of any non-All-Star in the league this year, but nobody knew or cared about him until he was OKC's best player, and yes, that's including Shea, in a 4-game sweep of the Lakers. So how do we cut through the media narratives and really look under the hood at LeBron's Laker tenure? Due to LeBron being out of a contract for the first time in his Lakers career, it might be the end of his Lakers career, but we'll see. The good news for the Lakers is so many bad contracts have been signed around the league, really only Brooklyn and Chicago have big enough salary cap space to sign him this offseason, and I don't think LeBron wants to go either place. So that leaves sign and trades, mid-level exceptions, or veteran minimums for LeBron. I think in his heart of hearts, he wants to be a co-star again for his final year, so I think he prefers Golden State. But I know he's thinking that team hopping again would tarnish his legacy in some eyes. So to me, it looks likely he'll come back to the Lakers on a mid-level exception or a vet minimum. And of course, he and Rich Paul will frame it as that he took a massive pay cut to help the team, although it will probably be all the Lakers would have offered. And of course, this will also keep broadening the NBA a little longer. So let's look under the hood like the OKC Thunder do at LeBron's career. LeBron has now played 8 years with the Lakers. The first category is every casual fan and media hack's favorite, mainstream stats. LeBron has, as always, been a lead in this regard, averaging 26, 8, and 8 in his Lakers career. He was asked to be a point forward often in the Anthony Davis years, regularly getting over 10 assists per game for long stretches. As throughout his whole career, his field goal percentage for a non-center was excellent, but his 3-point and free throw percentages were slightly below average. Now another surface level gauge most people look at is All-Stars, MVPs, All-NBA, and All-Defense. LeBron finished in the top 10 of MVP voting 3 times in his Lakers tenure, was an All-Star every year, and made the All-NBA team 7 out of 8 years, and 0 All-Defensive teams. Is that a Hall of Fame worthy career based on surface level stats and accomplishments? I leave all of that to you. Now let's look deeper under the hood at the most controversial debate, advanced stats. LeBron James, as you would expect, was one of the best advanced stats darlings in the sport during his prime in his 13-year 2007 to 2020 stretch. LeBron James finished top 5 in win shares 9 times in this stretch and ranked first in 5 straight years, 2008 to 2012. What I love about win shares is I feel it most often matches the eye test. Many times in our statistically focused fandom, we focus mainly on offensive stats, but win shares tries to focus more on two-way play and how you help your team win. My only criticism is that it does focus slightly more on individual defense, which I feel is slightly overrated compared to team defense, which is obviously much harder to quantify without being more advanced in film study. Wemby, Rudy Gobert, and a player like Marc Gasol, who LeBron regularly slanders for winning Defensive Player of the Year over him, often get underrated for their team defense, cutting off driving lanes, baiting passes on 2-on-1s, and altering shots, most often by fans and stat analysts like Nick Wright who don't watch film.
What does year 23, age 41 LeBron look like? prime Magic Johnson. He'll never be bad.
Win shares by 48 minutes instead of by game further evens the playing field by taking into account how effective you are by each minute compared to your peers. Several win shares darlings in the modern era, players like David Robinson and Chris Paul, who have more top 70 seasons than players like Jokic and Magic Johnson because they were also elite defensive players. But when you take in win shares by 48, all of a sudden the modern players explode. Jokic has 5 top 20 finishes, and Shea just posted the 4th best win share by 48 of all time, only behind Wilt and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who achieved it in the 60s and 70s against somewhat mediocre center competition. So how does LeBron's Laker tenure stack up by all-time standards? His best season by win share, 2023, at 2.223, ranks in the top 250 all-time seasons. That's not goatish, but he was 38, so that's still very impressive. His next best season was 2021 at .208, which ranked in the top 500 all time. His lowest two were 2024 and 2020, where he ranked in the top 1200 and the top 1800. So while he performed well for his age, he was above league average but below all NBA standards 7 out of the 8 years. And before all the stat lovers come out and say he was averaging 26, 8, and 8, again, I acknowledged that earlier, but win shares include defense. And now quickly, one more advanced stat that we certainly cannot trust game by game, but we can trust over the course of a season: plus minus. Now players like prime LeBron, James Harden, and Luka, they are such a system in and of itself, as James Harden famously said, even though he was clearly no longer a system at that point. They of course are going to have a very accurate plus minus because their usage is so high. But now it's a little less accurate for LeBron because his usage isn't as high. In essence, he's more at the mercy of Luka and Austin Reeves than he was in the past. But still, if you actually watch the Laker games the last 2 years, you would immediately say, who are the two Lakers consistently playing the hardest on defense and making the little winning plays? I would have said Dorian Finney-Smith last year and Marcus Smart this year. So let's look at the plus minus. Oh, look at that. Last year, who led a team of AD/Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves in plus minus? DFS at plus 268. Austin Reeves there at plus 195, Luka in half a year at plus 176, and where's LeBron? Oh, down here at negative 54. What about this year? Well, I've been the first to give kudos to LeBron for being negative 17 around January and then finally deciding to buy into being the third option. And he did turn it around. He finished 4th on the Lakers behind Luka and AR at plus 119. Wait, 4th? The Lakers had a big 3. Who was first? Oh, look at that. Defense and winning plays do matter. Marcus Smart comes in first at plus 256. Now don't get me wrong, is Marcus Smart better than Luka? No, because scoring takes much more skill than defense and winning plays. But if you don't have 1 or 2 Marcus Smarts in your lineup, you're not going to win a championship. So just going by advanced stats, I think it's clear LeBron was certainly not a first ballot Hall of Famer for his Lakers tenure. Now to the last factor, winning. I recently talked to a kid at my local high school how his season went. I was of course mostly referring to their wins and losses. He instead responded with, I averaged 20. I congratulated him, but then I asked more specifically about the team performance, and he sheepishly admitted it was 1-11. This is the NBA and many fans in a nutshell. Bottom line, LeBron James came to the Lakers AD, and LeBron's newest superstar co-star had arrived. AD at the time, when healthy, was the best two-way player in the league, just ahead of Kawhi and Giannis. The problem was he was never healthy, but he finally put it all together in the bubble, being the best player in that playoffs, just ahead of Jimmy Butler and LeBron. But LeBron did have a very good NBA Finals, and he edged AD in Finals MVP. Although, because of defense, I would have given the slight edge to AD, but we will have to give credit to LeBron. LeBron, of course, suffered an injury the next year. Then AD did, of course, as he always does, and they limped into the playoffs only to lose 4-2 to the Suns. With more injuries the next year, they missed the playoffs, but returned in 2022, surging late in the year with the rise of Austin Reeves with the famous I'm Him game against the Grizzlies. Eventually though, losing 4 close games in the Western Conference Finals against the eventual champion Denver Nuggets. Now yes, the Lakers and LeBron made the Western Conference Finals, but if you watch those 4 games, the Lakers were either ahead or right there up until the last 5 minutes, and LeBron was supposed to be still the offensive driving force of those teams. And for the first 40 minutes of those games, he was pretty good. But in those fourth quarters, He was the primary reason the Lakers struggled, going 7 for 23 and 1 for 10 from 3 in the fourth quarters, missing several big shots and big moments.
He averaged a triple-double at this stage in age.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty sensational. Fourth quarter's not sensational because in the 4 fourth quarters, he wound up going 7 of 23, that's 30%, and 1 of 10 from 3, which is obviously 10%.
Right.
Okay, it's not good enough because somebody had to rise and shine and say, I own this.
LeBron campaigned hard after that offseason to bring in Russell Westbrook, which ended up being a complete disaster. But Darvin Ham took the blame, getting fired the next year as the Lakers got eliminated in the first round 4-1 again by the Denver Nuggets. LeBron then hired his podcast buddy JJ Redick the next year. Luka was obviously brought in for AD, and the Lakers again lost in the first round of the Timberwolves. Then of course this year, an impressive performance from LeBron against the Rockets, which I would argue he was a bit overrated by the media and that Marcus Smart was actually very underrated in terms of the big moments, but still impressive from LeBron. But with Luka still out, LeBron was not able to do much against OKC, and neither was Marcus Smart offensively. Defensively though, he was very good on Shea. AR shot the ball awful the first 2 games, but was much better the last 2, but still culminated in a 4-0 sweep. Now what was LeBron's championship resume in his Lakers tenure? 1 championship and 1 finals appearance in the bubble. What was his playoff appearances? 6 playoff appearances in 8 years, with 2 Western Conference Finals appearances and 3 first-round exits. His win-loss in the playoffs, 32 and 31. Is that first ballot Hall of Famer? I would say it's good enough if you have elite stats, impact, and great advanced stats, but it's definitely not if you were not a top 8 player in the league in that 8-year stretch. So in conclusion, culturally, did LeBron massively help the Lakers? Yes and no. I believed he helped the organization really prioritize on winning now, but he also has contributed to hurting numerous young players' confidence like Brandon Ingram, Lonzo, Julius Randle, Josh Hart, and others by constantly putting them in trade talks and then eventually actually trading them. Is he a great leader? I'd say no, but that's a different video and that's hard to quantify. But based on stats, yes, for his Lakers tenure, he probably would be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Advanced stats, I would say no. Winning, I would say barely no. But I gave you the information, you draw your own conclusion. But the bottom line is, we have to factor in defense and the little things like help defense. If you watch the film, look under the hood, and prioritize those things, that's how teams like OKC keep finding players like AJ Mitchell, and that's why they keep winning. As fans, let's try to do more of the same and reject the media narrative just going off stats. Thanks for watching, y'all are the best. Shout out my 2 first members, Darth Mar and the legend my boy Arturo. If you guys are able to join as members to help support, that would help me immensely by being able to spend more time researching, watching film, and working on these videos. Thanks for all you guys' support, y'all are the best, and remember to turn on notifications so you actually see the videos. God bless you guys, peace!